Texas's once thriving property sector is now experiencing a downturn. Across the Lone Star State, the housing market is facing a significant decline, with some communities witnessing price drops exceeding $90,000, or even 47%. Imagine the financial blow of losing a six-figure sum before even settling into a new home. The convergence of mortgage rates nearing 7%, escalating insurance premiums, and an oversupply of properties is rapidly reshaping the real estate landscape. We'll examine which Texas cities are bearing the brunt of this downturn and whether this presents an unprecedented opportunity to acquire property at a fraction of its former cost. Stay with us as we delve into the 10 Texas real estate markets experiencing the most rapid deceleration. Commencing our countdown at number 10 is Ozona. This modest Texas municipality is now contending with substantial challenges in its housing market. Revered as the world's largest small town, Ozona is situated in Crockett County and boasts a population of approximately 3,200 individuals. However, the precipitous decline in property values is anything but small. In 2022, the average home price in Ozona stood at roughly $190,017. By 2025, this figure had plummeted to a mere $100,020, representing a staggering decrease of nearly 47%, akin to slicing a substantial portion from your assets. The primary driver of this economic contraction is the town's heavy reliance on the oil and gas industry, a sector inherently susceptible to volatile fluctuations. As oil prices decline or drilling activity decelerates, communities like Ozona feel the immediate repercussions. This economic vulnerability, coupled with climbing interest rates, 30-year mortgage rates are hovering around 7% in 2025, has diminished buyer enthusiasm, particularly in remote single-industry locales. Furthermore, Ozona's median household income, estimated at around $46,000, falls considerably short of the Texas average of $73,000. With limited employment opportunities beyond the energy sector, fewer young families are choosing to remain in the area. The prevalence of remote work has also not significantly permeated Ozona, a town where in-person presence is typically essential. The housing inventory has similarly experienced an inflationary surge, with listings escalating by over 35% in the past year alone. Homes are now remaining on the market for an average of 112 days, a twofold increase compared to 2022. This scenario inevitably leads to price reductions, desperate sellers, and opportunistic buyers. In 2022, acquiring a residence in Ozona could have cost close to $200,000. Presently, in 2025, it is possible to secure a property for just over $100,000, less than the cost of some premium pickup trucks. For investors seeking distressed real estate, Ozona presents a highly visible opportunity. Conversely, for existing homeowners, this situation engenders considerable financial strain. Moving on to number 9, we have Sweetwater. This quaint West Texas town, with a population of approximately 10,500 residents, is celebrated for its annual Rattlesnake Roundup Festival. However, at this juncture, the most unsettling element within Sweetwater is its volatile housing market. In 2022, the average home price in Sweetwater was approximately $140,525. By 2025, this figure had declined to $15,554, a substantial reduction of 25%. The underlying reasons for Sweetwater's struggle are multifaceted, with outmigration playing a significant role. Many younger individuals are departing smaller rural communities in favor of larger metropolitan centers, such as Abilene or even Dallas. The local economy, a blend of wind energy, agriculture, and oil, consists of sectors that are inherently cyclical. The decline in oil prices in late 2024 has adversely affected job security. Concurrently, mortgage rates exceeding 7% have rendered housing unattainable for many local residents. With a median household income hovering around $48,000, affording even $100,000 homes with contemporary higher monthly payments is a considerable challenge for numerous families. Investors are also exhibiting increased caution, with fewer opportunities for short-term rentals or Airbnb accommodations compared to more sought-after tourist destinations. Inventory levels serve as another cautionary indicator. Sweetwater has witnessed a 40% increase in available homes on the market over the past year. While the average time properties remain on the market has extended to 97 days, homes are not being sold. An imbalance between sellers and buyers is consequently driving rapid price reductions. As an illustration, in 2022, a monthly mortgage payment for an average home in Sweetwater would have approximated $1,100. In 2025, this figure has fallen to approximately $830, representing a more affordable, albeit less attractive, proposition for potential buyers. For residents anticipating property value appreciation, this period necessitates patience. However, for those seeking advantageous deals, Sweetwater's current market downturn may present an opportune moment, provided one is amenable to small-town living. Our eighth featured location is Vernon. Vernon, a congenial town of approximately 10,000 inhabitants, is situated in North Texas, near the Oklahoma border. Vernon's real estate market is experiencing a swift downturn. In 2022, the average home price was around $121,556. By 2025, this figure has receded to $95,801, a decrease of approximately 21%. Vernon has historically been a prominent agricultural center, with cotton, wheat, and cattle farming being significant economic activities. However, reduced farming profits and the impact of drought conditions on crop yields between 2023 and 2024 have negatively affected local incomes. The town's median household income is approximately $44,000, considerably lower than the statewide average for Texas. This, combined with escalating property taxes, which saw an approximate 8% increase countywide in 2024, has made homeownership increasingly expensive. Adding to these challenges is a growing surplus of homes on the market. The number of listings has risen by approximately 32% in just 1 year, while buyer demand is diminishing. Consequently, homes are now spending an average of 104 days on the market, a significant increase from 65 days in 2022. Persistent interest rates continue to pose a hurdle. With mortgage rates around 7%, many prospective buyers are adopting a wait-and-see approach. Furthermore, younger buyers are increasingly opting for nearby Wichita Falls due to superior employment prospects. In 2022, a typical monthly mortgage payment in Vernon might have been around $950. In 2025, even with reduced property prices, most buyers are still facing payments close to $800 per month, primarily due to elevated interest rates. The financial calculations are simply not as favorable as they once were. In essence, Vernon's market is languishing, and without a recovery in the agricultural sector or a decrease in interest rates, this small town's property market could continue its downward trajectory. At number 7, we have Galveston. Renowned for its picturesque beaches and historic allure, Galveston was once a highly sought-after destination for vacation home purchases in Texas. In 2022, the average home price reached approximately $380,250. By 2025, this figure has fallen to $330,987, a decline of about 13%. What is driving this shift? Primarily, the escalating cost of insurance. Following a series of active hurricane seasons and persistent flood risks, homeowners' insurance premiums in Galveston have skyrocketed. In 2022, typical annual premiums were around $3,500. Currently, many homeowners are obligated to pay $7,000 or more, with some premiums now exceeding their mortgage payments. Another contributing factor is Galveston's significant dependence on tourism and short-term rental markets. However, a slowdown in domestic travel spending between 2024 and 2025, coupled with new regulations governing short-term rentals, has tempered investor interest. Listings for beachfront properties have increased substantially, with inventory rising approximately 29% year-over-year. Simultaneously, higher mortgage rates have deterred second-home buyers. Many buyers who utilized adjustable-rate mortgages, or ARMs, in 2022 are now facing increased payments as these rates reset higher, prompting some owners to divest their properties rapidly to avoid negative cash flow. Galveston's median household income is approximately $58,000. While home prices remain considerably beyond the financial reach of most local residents, the market's vitality is largely dependent on out-of-town buyers who are now exercising greater caution. An interesting observation. In 2022, the average monthly payment for a $380,000 home was around $2,500. Today, despite the reduction in prices, prevailing interest rates mean that many buyers are still facing payments in the vicinity of $2,300 per month, and that is before accounting for property taxes and insurance. In summary, Galveston's coastal charm endures, but its property market is currently navigating turbulent financial conditions. Our 6th market is Big Spring. Big Spring, a place whose name evokes a sense of grandeur, is experiencing a rapid contraction in its housing market. In 2020, the average home price was approximately $188,450. By 2025, this has fallen to $145,554, a substantial decline of 23%. Big Spring is a quintessential West Texas oil town with a population of around 26,000 residents. Its economic fortunes have historically been intrinsically linked to the oil and gas industry, and 2024 proved to be an unfavorable year for energy markets. With declining oil prices and a reduction in active drilling rigs in the Permian Basin, layoffs and salary reductions have become commonplace, directly impacting the local economy. The median household income in Big Spring hovers around $53,000. However, with persistent inflation at 4% and rising costs for essential goods, fewer families feel confident enough to make significant purchases like a home. Furthermore, with 30-year mortgage rates hovering around 7%, the cost of financing even a $150,000 home appears considerable. the supply side of the equation is also concerning. Big Spring's housing inventory is expanding at an alarming rate, with listings increasing by 42% year over year. Homes are languishing on the market for an average of 108 days before receiving substantial offers, nearly double the average recorded in 2021. The crucial point is that despite the price reductions, higher interest rates mean that monthly payments are not significantly more affordable. In 2020, a $188,000 home would have incurred a monthly mortgage payment of approximately $1,200. Today, a $145,000 home still results in a payment close to $1,050 per month, representing a negligible discount. Moreover, rising property taxes and insurance premiums, with Big Spring's average insurance now approximately $2,800 annually, are placing a strain on homeowners' finances. For prospective buyers, this presents an opportunity to acquire property at a reduced cost. For sellers, however, they are navigating a sluggish market, holding out hope for a recovery that may not materialize in the near future. At number 5, we have Georgetown. Georgetown, frequently lauded as one of America's most aesthetically pleasing small cities, has recently experienced a challenging period. In 2022, the average home price reached a peak of $550,085. By 2025, this figure has sharply declined to $420,756, a significant drop of 23%. This charming suburb, located approximately 30 miles north of Austin, experienced a significant boom during the pandemic housing surge, attracting numerous out-of-state buyers and driving up demand. However, with mortgage rates currently around 7% and the median household income approximately $80,000, buyers are encountering affordability challenges. Georgetown's housing inventory is also on the rise, with a 38% increase from the previous year, as more individuals are listing homes they can no longer afford or no longer require. Concurrently, demand has experienced a substantial cooling, particularly from remote workers who are now being recalled to their physical workplaces. In 2022, the average monthly mortgage payment for a typical home in Georgetown was around $3,100. Today, despite the reduced property values, elevated interest rates mean that payments remain close to $2,900 per month, which is not the significant relief buyers had anticipated. The expansion of Georgetown also contributed to an increase in property taxes. The county's average property tax is approximately 2 2/10% of a home's valuation, translating to an annual tax burden of around $9,200 for a property valued at $420,000. When you factor in heightened insurance premiums, which are approximately $3,500 annually, it becomes understandable why prospective buyers are showing reluctance. This situation exemplifies a common trend where a surge in activity during a pandemic is followed by a downturn in its aftermath. Many retirees and individuals who relocated for remote work, once drawn to Georgetown, are now either seeking opportunities elsewhere or have postponed their home purchases entirely. Georgetown remains an attractive locale, boasting a charming Victorian town square and inherent historical appeal, but its real estate market is currently experiencing a significant cooling period. Next, at number 4, we examine POS on POS, a historically significant town renowned for its deep-rooted rodeo heritage. Sadly, the only element experiencing a faster decline than a bull rider's performance is the cost of housing. In the year 2022, the average cost of a home was $292,025. By 2025, this figure had dropped to $168,550, representing a dramatic decrease of 42%, placing it among the steepest contractions observed on our list. POS, situated within the Permian Basin, navigates the volatile fluctuations of oil prices. Prosperity in POS is directly linked to the health of the oil industry. When oil prices are robust, POS thrives, but when the oil market falters, so too does POS. In 2024, a softening of crude oil prices and a deceleration in drilling activities led to a sharp decline in local employment opportunities. The median household income in POS stands at $52,000. However, with a reduction in oilfield jobs and escalating living expenses, many families are opting to relocate or choose renting over purchasing homes. Mortgage rates at 7% further exacerbate buyer hesitancy. The number of properties listed for sale has surged by an astonishing 50% compared to the previous year, resulting in more vacant homes than have been seen in the past decade. Furthermore, properties are remaining on the market for an average of 115 days, and in some instances, even longer. In 2022, monthly mortgage payments for a house costing $292,000 would have been approximately $2,000. Presently, despite the reduction in home prices, the average monthly mortgage for a $168,000 residence still approximates $1,300, which is not the substantial relief one might anticipate. Insurance costs are also escalating rapidly, averaging $3,100 annually, attributed to the inherent risks associated with the oilfield environment. In essence, the housing market collapse in POS is severe. While advantageous for those seeking bargains, it presents a dire situation for those attempting to sell. Moving on to number 3, Rio Grande City. Rio Grande City, located directly on the border between the United States and Mexico in South Texas, is recognized for its rich cultural heritage and history. Currently, its real estate sector is grappling with its own form of border crisis. In 2022, the average home price was approximately $160,028, but by 2025, it had decreased to $125,775, a considerable decline of 21%. Rio Grande City has traditionally offered more affordable housing compared to larger metropolitan areas in Texas, yet this affordability has not shielded it from prevailing economic challenges. The median household income in this city is around $39,000, significantly lower than the Texas state average of $73,000. With such constrained incomes, even modest increases in mortgage rates, which are currently around 7%, effectively price out a considerable portion of the local population. Housing inventory is rapidly increasing, with the number of homes available for sale rising by 28% in a single year. While sellers are reducing their prices, buyers continue to exhibit caution. The underlying reason for this hesitancy is the anemic job growth, and several key industries in the region, including agriculture and small-scale retail, have not fully recovered from the impacts of the pandemic. Back in 2022, financing a home priced at $160,000 typically incurred a monthly cost of around $1,150. Today, even with lower property values, elevated interest rates result in monthly payments of approximately $1,000. While this represents a reduction, it is still not sufficiently affordable for many local residents who are contending with soaring expenses for groceries, utilities, and gasoline. Another factor negatively impacting the market is the high property tax rate, which stands at approximately 2.3%. This translates to an annual tax bill of roughly $2,900 for a house valued at $125,000. For numerous families already facing financial strain, this additional expense is difficult to manage. Rio Grande City retains its allure, from its historic downtown streets to its welcoming neighborhoods, but its real estate market has clearly lost its momentum and prices are rapidly declining. At number 2, we have San Saba. San Saba, a small and picturesque community in central Texas, is celebrated for its pecan production. Unfortunately, its real estate market is also facing significant challenges. In 2022, the average home price here was $230,115. By 2025, however, this figure had fallen to $180,590, a substantial drop of 22%. San Saba is a diminutive town, with a population of approximately 3,000 residents. Like many rural areas, it struggles with limited employment prospects beyond the agricultural sector. The median household income is around $42,000, meaning that high mortgage rates are having a considerable impact. With 30-year mortgage rates consistently near 7%, even more affordable homes strain the budgets of many families. Property listings have risen by 34% over the past 12 months, and homes are remaining unsold for an average of 120 days. Extended market durations necessitate price reductions, and sellers find themselves in competition to attract a shrinking pool of potential buyers. Furthermore, other costs are also on the rise. Property taxes in San Saba are approximately 2%, adding about $3,600 annually in taxes for a home valued at $18,000. Insurance premiums are also trending upward, averaging $2,500 per year, placing additional pressure on already tight family budgets. In 2022, mortgage payments for a $230,000 home were close to $1,600 per month. Currently, despite the decrease in home prices, buyers are still paying around $1,300 per month due to the higher interest rates. This represents the classic predicament of falling prices coupled with rising expenses. For investors, San Saba presents a challenging prospect. For individuals who dream of a tranquil, small-town lifestyle, the current discounts might be appealing, but they should be prepared for slow appreciation and a prolonged period before experiencing any significant return on investment. Finally, at number 1, we have Leander. Leander, once the favored child of Austin's suburban expansion, is now leading Texas in home price depreciation. In 2022, the average home price in Leander was an elevated $590,000. By 2025, this figure had declined to $450,980, a decrease of 24%. Leander experienced an unprecedented rate of growth during the pandemic, establishing itself as one of the fastest-growing cities in America. However, this rapid expansion also resulted in home prices becoming significantly misaligned with local incomes, which average approximately $92,000. While this is a high income for Texas, it was insufficient to keep pace with homes priced around $600,000, particularly with mortgage rates at 7%. The supply of homes on the market has dramatically increased, with listings up 45% compared to the previous year, prompting sellers to implement substantial price reductions to facilitate sales. In 2022, a typical monthly mortgage payment for a $590,000 house was around $4,000. Today, While the monthly payments have decreased to approximately $3,200, this remains a substantial burden for many families, especially considering the soaring property taxes, which are around 2.3%, equating to nearly $10,000 annually, and insurance costs that exceed $4,500 per year. Additionally, a significant number of buyers in Leander during the boom period secured adjustable-rate mortgages, and as these loans reset, their monthly payments have surged. This has led to a substantial influx of properties being listed by homeowners who are struggling to manage their increased housing costs. Leander continues to be a visually appealing location, offering excellent schools and a family-friendly atmosphere, but at present, it stands as the epicenter of Texas's housing market slowdown.